Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I am going to tell you the answers of Model Question Paper 2 for Reduced Syllabus 2021 First PUC of Business Studies. Part 1 of this paper has already been uploaded, so you can check the playlist or you can check the description also. This is the part 2. So let's start the video. We will start from question number 25 of section C, in which you have to answer 7 questions in 10 to 12 sentences. So let's start the video. So section C, question number 25. The question is, explain the nature of business risk. So the following are some of the nature or characteristics of business risk. The first one is, business risk arises due to uncertainties. Uncertainty is when it is not known what is going to happen in future. Examples of uncertainties that affect a business are change in government policy, change in demand, change in technology, etc. So this is the first point. This is the first nature or characteristics of business risk. Now the next point is, second number is risk. Risk is an essential part of the business. The risk involved in a business can be reduced to some extent, but it is not possible to eliminate the risk involved. So this is the second part. Now the third part. Every business has risk which varies in severity based on the type of business. For example, a large corporation or business will carry more risk as compared to a small scale business. The fourth point is, businesses take risk with the motive or expectations of earning profit. So this is the fourth point. Now next is the answer of question number 26. Your answer of question number 25 is completed. Now answer of question number 26, in which you have to explain the features or characteristics of partnership firm. So the characteristics or the features of the partnership firm are given as below. So this is the answer of question number 26. Now the first point is agreement. The partnership is a result of a contract or an agreement that is entered into between or among the partners. It does not arise from birth, status or inheritance or succession. The contract or agreement between the persons may be oral or written, but usually the contract is in writing. So this is the first feature or characteristics of partnership firm. Now the next one is nature of partners. So this is the nature of partners. Section 11 of Indian Partnership Act 1932 provides that the maximum number of persons a firm can have is 10. In case of partnership firm carrying on a banking business, in case of partnership firm carrying on any other business, the number of partners can be 20. So just remember, in case of banking business, the number of partnership firm is 10. And in case of other business, the partners may be 20. If the number of partners exceeds the aforesaid limit, the partnership firm becomes an illegal association. So this is the point number 2. Now we'll move on to point number 3. This is the lawful business. The aim of a partnership firm should be profit making by conducting only lawful business activities. Partnership business should be as per the law of land. Association formed for conducting illegal actions like theft, black marketing and smuggling cannot be called as partnership. So this is the third characteristics. Now the fourth characteristics is profit sharing. The profit should be shared among the partners in a definite agreed ratio. That can be 2:3:1 or 3:2:1, or that can be shared equally also, but that should be mentioned in the agreement. The main object of partnership is to make profit and share the profits as per the agreed ratio. If the partnership agreement does not include any clause on profit sharing, then the partners share profit equally as per the rules of the Indian Partnership Act. The non-profit making organizations cannot be called partnership. This is an important point. You must mention in your answer that the non-profit making organization will not be included in the partnership firm. Now the next is question number 28. You have to write the benefits of joint venture. So the first is economies of scale. Joint venture helps the organization to scale up with their limited capacity. The strength of one organization can be utilized by the other. This gives the competitive advantage to both the organizations to generate economic of scalability. So this is the first benefit. Now the next is innovation. So joint ventures give an added advantage to the upgrading the products and services with respect to technology. Marketing can be done with various innovative platforms, and technological upgradation helps in making good products at efficient cost. International companies can come up with new ideas and technology to reduce cost and provide better quality products. So the next one is low cost of production. You can write this answer about the low cost of production. Now we'll move on to next point. Access to technology. Technology is an attractive reason for organizations to enter into a joint venture. So this is the next point. You can write this in your answer. Access to technology. Now we'll move on to next point. Without the further investment of huge amount gain to create a technology which is already in existence, the access to same technology can be done only when companies enter into joint venture and give a competitive advantage. So this is the answer of question number 28, in which you have to describe and explain the 4 benefits of joint venture. The 4 benefits of joint venture is completed. Now we'll move on to next question. Question number 29, in which you have to explain the different types of banks. So the different types of banks are, this is the question number 29. The first one you have to write is about the commercial bank. The detailed explanation has been given in this video, so you can write this answer about the commercial bank. Now we will move on to next part, that is cooperative bank. This is the second type of bank in which you have to write, this is the second type, that cooperative banks are the banks that usually provide short term, medium term, long term credit to agricultural purposes. Cooperative banks also provide loans to small scale artisans. Cooperative banks usually provide credit facilities to farmers, small scale industries at a cheaper rate of interest. Cooperative banks are mainly situated in rural areas and can also be seen in urban areas. Now the third part is central bank. Every country has its own central bank. The central bank aims at non-profit functioning. It regulates the monetary and credit system of the country. Central bank acts as a controller, supervisor and regulator of the activities of commercial banks and other financial institutions in the country. The central bank is considered as the apex institution of the country's money market. Now we will move on to next type, that is industrial bank. Industrial banks are also called as investment banks. Industrial banks provide long-term loans to the industries. Industries require long-term capital for buying machinery, construction of building, expansion of operations, etc. This capital required by industries is provided by industrial banks for industrialists to grow their businesses. Industrial banks accept long-term deposits from the public. They secure capital by issuing shares and debentures. Next part is the agriculture bank. This is the next part, agriculture bank. You write the topic and then write detailed about this, that agriculture banks are the banks which provide agriculture credit to the farmers. So this is all about agriculture banks. Now next is saving banks. Saving banks mainly concentrate on the mobilization of saving of the people. So this is the next type of banks. In this question you have to write about the types of banks. So now the next is foreign exchange banks. Foreign exchange banks are the banks which provide finance for foreign trade. These banks accept deposits from the public. Foreign exchange banks are specialized banks in providing credit for the foreign trade. These banks usually have their branches in foreign countries for uninterrupted functioning of their services, but in recent times commercial banks are also financing foreign trade. Now the next is exchange banks. Exchange banks are the banks which operate by financing the imports and exports of the country. These banks are mainly concerned with providing foreign exchange to their customers and help to promote international trade. They also offer to discount of foreign bills of exchange to their customers. So in this way your answer of question number 29 is completed, in which you have to explain the different types of banks. Now we'll move on to next question, question number 30. Remember you have to answer only 7 questions from this section. So now we'll discuss question number 30, in which you have to write the 4 benefits of e-business. So the first one is easy to set up. The next one is cheaper than traditional business. This is the next type. Next is no geographical boundaries. So see, this is the third benefit, that is there are no geographical boundaries for e-business. Anyone can order anything from anywhere and at any time. This is one of the benefits of e-business. So this is the most important benefit, no geographical boundaries. Now next is government subsidies. Online businesses gets benefit from the government, as government is trying to promote digitalization. So this type of e-business is also getting benefits from the government, because government is trying to promote the digitalization. So the next benefit is government subsidies. Now answer of question number 31, in which you have to explain the ways of payment in online transactions. So as you all know, there are various ways of payments in online transactions. The first one is cash on delivery, that is also known as COD. So cash on delivery, as is clear from the name, payment for the goods ordered online may be made in cash at the time of physical delivery of goods. So this is quite simple, you all know about it. Now next is check. The buyer may send a check to the online vendor. In this case, the goods are delivered upon realization of the check. Now next is net banking transfer. The buyer may instruct his bank to electronically transfer the amount from his account to account of the online vendor. So this is the third type of payment in online transactions. So next is debit card or credit card. You can also make payment in online transactions through the debit card or the credit card, which is also referred as plastic money. Now the next is digital cash. So this is a form of electronic currency that exists only in cyberspace. This type of currency has no real physical properties, but offers the ability to use real currency in an electronic format. So in this way, your answer question number 31 is also completed, in which you have to explain the ways of payment in online transactions. Now we will move on to question number 32, in which you have to write about the articles of association. So articles of association, which is shortly known as AOA, is a document that defines the purpose of a company and it specifies the regulations for its operation. The documents outlines how tasks should be accomplished within an organization, including the preparation and management of financial records and the process of director appointments. The articles of association can be considered the constitution of a company because it outlines the rules and regulations that stipulate a company's internal affairs. The articles of association are also considered a user's manual for an organization that states the purpose of the organization and its strategies to accomplish its short-term and long-term goals. Generally, the AOA, that is the Articles of Association, includes a company's legal name, address, purpose, equity capital, organization of the company, financial provisions, and provisions regarding the shareholders meeting. Remember, this document is also required at the time of incorporation of the company. So this is all about Articles of Association. Now we will move on to question number 33, in which you have to explain the different types of itinerant retailers. So this is the answer of question number 33. Itinerant retailers may be of four types. They are hawkers, peddlers, cheapjacks, market traders, street traders. So the first one we will discuss about the peddlers and the hawkers. So peddlers are those retailers who carry goods in handcart to sell with them at the door of the consumers. To hawk means to sell goods in the streets or by knocking on people's door. A hawker means someone who hawk goods. Generally, hawkers carry goods on their heads. They persuade people to accept goods which may be of low quality, so the price charged by hawker is lower than the market price. They move from place to place with limited stock. So this is all about peddlers and hawkers. Now next is the cheapjacks. This is the second type. Now cheapjacks are different from hawkers and the peddlers. They have an independent shop. Remember, peddlers and hawkers don't have their independent shop. They move from place to place and doors to door to sell their products, but the cheapjacks have their independent shops. but the shop is not a permanent one. If business at one place is not profitable, cheapjacks will choose some other location, so they frequently change their place of business in search of greener pastures. Cheapjacks know the art of selling and are well versed with all tricks of the trade. The next one is the market traders. Market traders, as the name itself implies, market traders, as the name itself implies, open their shops on market days. Market days vary from place to place, being conducted on weekly or monthly basis. Market traders perform business only when the market is open. They open their shops at different places on different days whenever the market is open. So this is the third point. For example, Sunday market, Tuesday market, Monday market. Next is the street traders. As the name itself suggests, street traders carry on their business in busy streets, aiming at the floating population. They choose bus stops, railway stations, government and commercial offices, and educational institutions to do business. They deal in one kind of goods at a time that are high in demand. So this is the answer of question number 33. Now next is the answer of question number 34. This is the last question of section C. In this way your section C will be completed. So this is all about international business. So you have to explain the scope of the international business. So international business includes export and import of goods, export and import of services or intellectual property rights, licensing and franchising, foreign investments including both direct investment and portfolio investment. International trade refers to only export and import of merchandise, that is goods only. It is called visible trade. The goods are tangible like machinery, gold, silver, electronic goods, etc. The scope, the first one is the international trade, the second is the export and import of services, the third is licensing and franchising, fourth is foreign investment. You can write this also in the subpoints, licensing and franchising. Fourth is the foreign investment. It involves investment of funds abroad in exchange for financial return. Now next starts the section D. So from here we will start the section D. Your section C is completed, in which you have to answer 4 questions. So next question is question number 35. In 35 you have to explain what is business and the characteristic feature of business. So business is defined as an organized economic activity when the exchange of goods and services takes place for adequate consideration. It is nothing but a method of making money from commercial transactions. It includes all those activities whose sole aim is to make available the desired goods and services to the society in an effective manner. Now the characteristics features of business. The first one is economic activity. The second one is production, purchase of goods and services. The third one is selling of goods and services. The fourth is continuity in dealing. Every business requires regularity in transactions. Next is profit earning. This is the most important characteristics of any type of business except for non-profit organizations. Next is element of risk. Risk is the key element for every business. So in this way question number 35 is completed. Now we will discuss about the answer of question number 37, in which you have to explain the 4 merits and the 4 demerits of joint stock company. So firstly we will read about the merits of joint stock company. So one of the biggest drawing factors of a joint stock company is the limited liability of its members. Their liability is only limited up to the unpaid amount on their shares. Since their personal wealth is safe, they are encouraged to invest in the joint stock company. So the first point is limited liability. You must remember that in case of sole proprietorship firm, the liability is unlimited. But in case of joint stock company, the liability is limited. Next is the share of a company are transferable. This is the second benefit. The third benefit is about the perpetual succession. This is the another advantage of joint stock company, means that the death or the retirement or insanity of any of the members of the company does not affect the life of a company. So this is the third advantage. The fourth one is a company hires a board of directors to run all the activities. Very proficient, talented people are elected to the board, and this results in an effective and efficient management. So the fourth is the fourth one is the base talent and the professionals. This is the advantage of joint stock company. Now the demerits of joint stock company. So the first demerit is about the procedure. The procedure of the joint stock company is very lengthy, and its formation also takes several weeks, and it is a costly affair too. Next disadvantage of the joint stock company is that all the public companies have to provide their financial records and other related documents to the registrar. There is a lack of secrecy for the company. Next is there are various regulations and notifications for the joint stock company. It reduces the freedom of a company. The next disadvantage and the last fourth one is the company has many stakeholders like the shareholders, the promoters, the board of directors, the employees. So all look out for the benefit and often leads to a conflict of interest. So this is the fourth disadvantage, that is conflict of interest. Now we'll move on to next question, that is explain the principles of insurance. Question number 38, in which we will discuss about the principles of insurance. So the first one here is utmost good faith. Here is all written about the utmost good faith. You can write these answers. Next one is the insurable interest. This means that the insurer must have some pecuniary interest in the subject matter of the insurance. So the next one is indemnity. Indemnity insurance like fire and marine insurance are contracts of indemnity. Next is subrogation. This principle says that once the compensation has been paid, the rights of ownership of the property will be shifted from the insured to the insurer. So this is the fourth point. The next is fifth, contribution. This principle applies if there are more than one insurers. So in this way you can contribute the shares of the compensation. The next is sixth one, proximate cause. This principle states that the property is insured only against the incidents that are mentioned in the policy. That means you can't claim about the other incidents that are not mentioned in the policy. Now next is question number 40, in which you have to explain the benefits of international business both to nations and both to firms. So benefits of international business to nations are earning of foreign exchange. Next is more efficient use of resources. Next is improving growth prospects and employment potentials. The next one is increased standard of living. The next one is benefits of international business to firms. So the benefits of international business to nations we have discussed earlier. This is the benefits of international business to firms. So the first one is prospects for higher profit. The second one is increased capacity utilization. So this is the second benefit. The third one is prospects for growth. The fourth one is way out to intense competition in domestic market. Now in this way your section D is completed, in which you have to answer 4 questions. Now this is the last section, that is practical oriented question, in which you have to answer 2 questions. So the first one is, as a customer of a bank, list out any 5 e-banking services obtained by you. This is the question number 42. So the 5 e-banking services which are obtained to us are, first one is the ATM. So ATM are the electronic machines operated by customers on their own in order to withdraw or deposit money. ATMs provide 24-hour service. So this is the first type. The second is credit card. A credit card is a payment card. It enables the holder to buy goods, services without using actual money. The third one is the debit card. Banks provide debit cards facilities to its account holders, and that enables the holders to buy goods or services without using actual cash. So there is the third service which is provided by e-banking services. The fourth one is the NEFT, that is National Electronic Fund Transfer, in which we can transfer fund electronically from one bank account to another bank account in the same bank or any other bank in the country. The next one is the fifth, net banking and mobile banking. Net banking enables customer to access their account over internet by logging on to the bank website with the help of computers, laptops, other gadget. This is all about the net banking. And mobile banking. Now we will move on to next question. This is the last question of this model question paper 2 of business studies. In this way, all the answers of this paper will be completed. So the answer of question number 43, in which you have to explain the different modes of entry into international business. So modes of entry into international business are, the first one is the exporting and the importing. This is the first point. Exporting refers to selling of goods from the home country to the foreign country, while importing means importing for purchase of foreign products and bringing them into one's home country, that is the importing. The next point is the contract manufacturing. When a firm enters into a contract with one or few local manufacturers in foreign countries to get certain product produced as per its specifications, it is called contract manufacturing. It is also known as outsourcing and can take place in following forms: for production of components, assembling of components, and complete manufacture. The third one is licensing and franchising. This is the third point. Pizza Hut and Walmart are the examples of this type of franchises operating worldwide. Fourth one is the joint venture. Joint venture means establishing a firm that is jointly owned by two or more independent firms. So it can be brought into existence by three major ways. First one is by foreign investors, next is by local firm, and the third point is both the foreign and the local enterprises jointly forming a new enterprise. Fifth is wholly owned subsidiaries. So when a foreign company is acquired by a parent company by making 100% investment in its equity capital, then it is called wholly owned subsidiaries. So this is all about wholly owned subsidiaries. So in this way, this section is completed. Answer of model question paper 2 of business studies is completed. So thank you. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for further notification and for further videos. Moreover, if you need answer of any other subject, do please mention in comment section. I will provide you the same. So thank you, and don't forget to subscribe my channel, and please check the playlist for any other answers of any other question paper if you want that has been uploaded. Please check the playlist also, the link of which is provided in the description. Thank you.